Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a topic that we all experience but don't always know how to handle. Anger. We've all been there, whether it's frustration at work, an argument with a loved one, or simply the stress of everyday life. Anger can bubble up and feel overwhelming. But here's the thing, anger is a natural emotion. The issue isn't that we get angry, but how we deal with it. So in today's video, we'll explore the psychology behind anger, why it happens, and most importantly, how you can control it using proven anger management techniques. Let's get started. First, let's talk about why we experience anger. Anger is an emotional response to a perceived threat, frustration, or injustice. It's a survival mechanism dating back to our ancestors, helping them react quickly to threats. Anger can be a useful emotion, pushing us to take action or defend ourselves. However, in today's world, we're rarely dealing with life or death threats. Most of our anger stems from more complex emotional or psychological triggers. Psychologists like Dr. Charles Spielberger, who has extensively studied the emotion of anger, explain that anger is a two-part process. First, there's the physical reaction. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tense, and your adrenaline spikes. This is your body preparing to fight or flee. The second part is the cognitive response, which is how we interpret and react to the situation. This is where we have the most control over our anger. By understanding what's triggering our anger and how our mind is interpreting it, we can change the way we respond. A 2019 study published in Psychological Science showed that people who regularly practice emotional regulation techniques, like mindfulness and cognitive reframing, have lower levels of anger and frustration in stressful situations. So the key isn't to suppress anger, but to manage it in a healthy way. One of the most important steps in anger management is recognizing your anger before it spirals out of control. Often we don't realize how angry we're getting until we're already in a full-blown argument or feeling overwhelmed by rage. But the truth is, anger usually builds up gradually. If you can catch it early, you can prevent it from escalating. Start by paying attention to the physical signs of anger. Is your heart rate increasing? Are you clenching your fists or tightening your jaw? Are your thoughts becoming more negative or critical? These are all red flags that your anger is building. By becoming aware of these early warning signs, you can step in before the situation gets out of hand. This is where emotional self-awareness plays a key role. Self-awareness allows you to identify your triggers, recognize the physical symptoms of anger, and take proactive steps to calm yourself down. One technique is to use a cool-down signal. When you feel anger rising, tell yourself to take a step back. This could mean physically removing yourself from the situation or simply taking a deep breath. This break gives your brain time to process what's happening and respond more calmly. Now that we understand why anger happens and how to recognize it, let's dive into some practical techniques you can use to manage anger in the moment. One of the most effective and simple ways to manage anger is deep breathing. When you're angry, your body goes into a fight or flight mode, which means your heart rate increases and your breathing becomes shallow. Deep breathing helps reset your nervous system by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms you down. Try this technique. When you start to feel angry, pause and take a deep breath in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale slowly for 4 seconds. Repeat this several times. This slows down your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure, and gives you the space to think more clearly. Studies published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine show that deep breathing exercises can significantly reduce anger and anxiety by regulating your body's stress response. It's a powerful tool to use in stressful situations. Another powerful anger management technique is cognitive reframing. This involves changing the way you interpret a situation to reduce the intensity of your emotional response. Often, our anger comes not just from what happens, but from how we perceive what happens. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, your immediate thought might be, "That person is so selfish." But what if you reframe the situation? Instead of jumping to conclusions, you might think, "Maybe they're in a hurry because of an emergency." This small shift in perspective can reduce the intensity of your anger. Cognitive reframing is supported by research from the Journal of Cognitive Therapy and Research, which found that individuals who practice reframing techniques experience lower levels of anger and frustration because they're able to reinterpret the situation in a more balanced, less emotional way. Mindfulness and meditation are fantastic tools for long-term anger management. Mindfulness teaches you to stay present and observe your emotions without reacting impulsively. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you can develop a greater awareness of your emotional state, which allows you to manage anger more effectively. Mindfulness is about acknowledging your anger without judgment. Instead of trying to push it away or act on it immediately, you observe it. This creates a space between the emotion and your reaction, giving you more control over how you respond. A 2017 study in the Journal of Clinical Psychology showed that individuals who practiced mindfulness meditation had significantly lower levels of anger and aggression compared to those who didn't. Meditation helps you regulate your emotions by training your mind to focus on the present moment, reducing the intensity of anger as it arises. Sometimes the best way to manage anger is to remove yourself from the situation altogether. This is called the timeout strategy. When you feel your anger escalating, take a break. Go for a walk, step outside, or take a few minutes to be alone. This gives your mind and body a chance to cool down before you say or do something you might regret. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that taking a timeout can significantly reduce anger and aggressive behavior. By physically stepping away, you give yourself the opportunity to process the situation and approach it with a clearer, calmer mindset. But here's the important part. Communicate to the other person that you need a break, rather than storming off or abruptly leaving. This prevents misunderstandings and shows that you're committed to handling the situation in a constructive way. One unexpected but powerful technique for managing anger is practicing gratitude. When we're angry, we tend to focus on what's wrong in the situation, which intensifies our negative emotions. But by intentionally focusing on what we're grateful for, we can shift our mindset and reduce the intensity of our anger. Gratitude helps you put things in perspective. Maybe you're upset about a small argument with a loved one, but when you focus on how much they mean to you and how many positive experiences you've shared, the anger starts to fade. According to a study in psychological science, people who regularly practice gratitude experience more positive emotions and lower levels of anger. Shifting your focus to gratitude interrupts the cycle of anger and helps you approach the situation with more kindness and patience. Anger management isn't about never feeling angry. It's about learning how to handle your emotions in a healthy, constructive way. By using techniques like deep breathing, cognitive reframing, mindfulness, and gratitude, you can take control of your anger and improve your emotional well-being. But remember, managing anger is a long-term process. It's not about perfection, but progress. Each time you recognize and regulate your emotions, you're building emotional resilience, which will benefit you in all areas of life, from your relationships to your career. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video on emotional intelligence, mental health, and personal growth. And in the comments below, let me know, which anger management technique are you most excited to try? Let's keep the conversation going and support each other on this journey to emotional mastery.